Shall we give everybody a few?
Sure.
Well, should we go?
Sure.
Okay. I guess today I was planning to go over the main documents listed in that master list for the SPC process. If we have time to get through that many without being on too long. I know trying to follow different processes can get confusing and prevent one from moving forward, so I hope we're all going to be on the same page with this. Hopefully we can also get some of the questions answered. PJ's documents, as we know, are not originals. These have been around for a long time. Everybody just keeps updating and improving on them. And that's basically all I have done is just taken what he has given us in the first 5 videos, then going through the other videos, finding where he has updated and improved his own documents, and I have added and deleted according to his instructions. So that's what you're looking at now. Other than I've made some of these documents, of course, my own by taking out some of the stuff I didn't like, and not context, but like color, boldness, or something like that. If it didn't quite suit me, I changed that. And I think everyone has access to Peter's document, so you can kind of compare mine with his and see what I've done. There were 2 Reservation of Rights documents in the list, and I read both of them over carefully and determined that they were very, very similar, so combined them into one. And then there was a document in there called Legal Notice and Demand, and he has since then said not to use that one, so I took it off the master list. So the master list for SPC process that is in my templates is a updated list of what we got originally. I'm not sure what that was. Why that's not opening. Well, let's try another one. The first document we do to get the Treasury Trust Pact done is the private security agreement. And basically, all of these documents are quite simple. Just take a little time to read through them, and you can kind of see there are a few confusing spots like maybe dates, because some places you have to put your 18th birthday or your birth date instead of the existing date of today. For example, this one, this just has today's date, your all cap name. And if you notice, I have the copyright trademark symbols already in there for you, so you don't even have to search and figure out how to do that. And from studying copyright trademark, we have learned that the copyright symbol goes first with a space, and then the trademark goes last with no space. So that's the way I have it on my documents. Let's see, we have here the Social Security number and then the related bond number, and that number is the number that's on the back of your SS card. And you have it down here. This is your suite number. That's the P.O. box you'll open for your business, for your trust, for your estate. This, of course, is you. I don't think there's anything unusual or different about all of this. Just go through, you find the hims and hers and change them accordingly. There is one thing that you're going to want to learn. If you need to go through and learn how to do footers, that's not a problem. We can go over that sometime. But this is your footer. It has your page numbers, the name of your document. The first three are your initials. The next are whatever letters, like this one is the private security agreement, so it's a PSA. Then you put your birth date, whatever that might be, and the last four of your social, and that is the number of your document. And Peter went over this in, I don't know which video, but he did go over this, probably number 1. You go down, and here is where you put your birth year. And here's another his, her. Thank you. Then you have your all cap, again, copyright, trademark, and then of course your last, comma, first, comma, middle. Now he has changed all of the dollar amounts from 1 million to 1 billion. So I've done so through all the documents. So that's all done for you. I don't think there, on this one, there is one place, get down here, if I can find it. You put your state. I've highlighted everything that you need to change, correct, whatever. Here's your signature block according to the way that Peter has it set up. And the main thing I noticed on some of the documents, it was really inconsistent. So this is the way he has his. So I went through, and forgive the line that's here. My system, for some reason, because I'm using somebody else's templates to fix and correct, I could not get rid of this space. This should be moved over to line up with this line, as I think this is the only document I had a problem with that on. Executor or executrix, depending on your male or female. Right on the signature block for the documents right now, we put trust until after we get established, and then we do change that to estate when we do future paperwork. Your acknowledgement, this works in my state. Some states have particular jurats or acknowledgements they like. This one's a pretty basic one. Should not be a problem for most any state. Then you have your Schedule A, which is where you put your personal stuff. For example, your certificate of birth number, your social security number, your bond number, that's the number on the back of your SS card, driver's license number, passport number, whatever else you want to, numbers that you have like this that you want to enter in this area, that's, you know, that's what that's for. Here's your indemnity bond that goes with it, notice of lien, and here we have John Henry Doe. In this document, that is the straw person. And of course, straw person cannot write a signature. So whenever you're doing a straw person signature, it's typed or printed out. And then yours is over here. And of course, you would sign. I took out of this document, there was a reference to the legal notice and demand in this document. I've taken that out so you don't have to search and find that and remove that because we're no longer using that document. Okay, so I'll close that one out. Next one's power of attorney. Pretty much same thing. John Henry Doe, trademark, copyright, upper, lower, changed man or woman, whatever you need to do there. Footer, same thing. Of course, these need to be notarized. But here's again your signature block. And on this one, John Henry Doe is signing up here as the debtor. So his name's up here, typed out. So you just change that to your name. Your straw man's name. I don't think there's anything strange or unusual about that document. And we have the common law copyright notice. This is your document number. This is your year of your birth. And then over here is your 18th birthday. Let's see if I can move that over a little bit. No, it's not going to let me do it. So over here we would have whatever your 18th birthday is. Now this one, notice it says purple ink. I want to talk a little bit about that. PJ says that Gene Keating says in the IRS manual to use red. However, later on, PJ has also said, which is what I also learned before meeting PJ, is that the living person can sign in purple, and that represents royalty. So I don't like red. That's just a personal thing. If you prefer red, then all these John Henry Does, you go up here, change your color to red and make them bold because red does not show up well. Neither does purple, so I've bolded all of these upper lowercase names, and I have bolded all of the debtors' names just so they stand out. But I chose purple, so I changed purple here. So if you want red, put red. I noticed that on the last few documents that PJ has shown in his class, he's been signing in purple. So I thought, okay, good, got that. This is a document number. It's the same way as down in the footer. So you just, this is your indemnity agreement, hold harmless. So you have your first three initials, the hold harmless indemnity agreement, HHIA, and again, your birth date, last four of your social. It's the same thing, just repetitive over and over and over again through these documents. Nothing strange here. Okay, we're down here. The date that goes here is your 18th year of birth. So whatever your 18th birthday is, that's what you would put there. Again, change executor to executrix if you're a female. Do your jurat, done. Next one is the hold harmless. Again, we have the number up here. Here's the debtor. And this is the suite number. And I'm finding that on some of the post offices are being kind of nasty about the suite numbers. So you may want to add the street address of your post office and then just put suite number whatever instead of P.O. box. That might make them happier. I have actually received 2 letters now from IRS requesting more information on some stuff I sent them, and they both arrived in my suite box with no P.O. address. But I noticed that some of the people are having a problem with that, so you might want to just put the street address, like mine would be 908 Main Street, suite, whatever my box number is. This is pretty explanatory. It's your SSN, the bond number, the back of the card number. Here, this is written out, day of, second month of the year, what, and you write your, this one is all written out for the date. Nothing unusual, it's just hold harmless agreement, document number again. Here's your 18th birthday. I think I've pretty well covered everything in here for you as far as putting what date and everything on here. Because I know some of this was a little confusing when I got it, so I had to kind of do some digging to find it, what was really supposed to be there. Here we have another John Doe debtor, just typed out his name, and then whenever you have a debtor signature like this that is typed or printed out, then it's by you. Now I notice PJ puts by on a lot of his stuff, but if you're not signing for the debtor as the representative, then you really don't need to have that by there. But when you're doing the debtor's signature, then it's by you. You are the authorized representative, so it's by whoever you are. So it's by your signature. And there's the jurat. Let's see, we have the next one is, I'm trying to go through these in the order that they go into the pack so that maybe it's a little easier to follow. Okay, bill of exchange is the next one. Okay, remember that he says you need to have 3 registered mail numbers.
I hate to interrupt, but I need to ask a question.
Sure.
The documents that I printed a while back do not have as many pages or the same setup as what you're showing here. And I printed them straight from the mega files. Is there some other documents that we need to use other than the ones that PJ provided in there originally? Because I have version number 5.
I don't know what ones you have. The ones I have, these documents I'm showing you are the ones I got from Laurel that came with the master list for the SPC process.
Yep,
The only
so that's
thing,
what I got. My hold harmless only has 3 pages.
it may be the way it's typed out. I don't know.
I just wanted to clarify before I go too far and I'm sitting here looking at something that's totally different than what you have. Thank you.
Yep, thanks. I don't know, because these are the documents that I have gotten from Laurel. And they are the same documents that Peter used, except that, like I said before, I took out a lot of the bold printing and I took out a lot of the color because I like just very clean, neat document look rather than a lot of color. But as far as taking out any or adding any context to the documents, I did not. Other than we did combine those two Reservation of Right documents because there were two of them and they were very similar, but there were two and they were slightly different, but they were so similar, I saw no need to have two of those. So we combined them. Other than that, I can't think, oh, there is one document in there. When I get to it, I'll point it out. It was written by somebody else that PJ grabbed it and he liked it, but he didn't change anything much to it. He added to it, if anything, but it was very redundantly written. It had a lot of therefores and therefores and therefores, and it went on and on and on and on. I did not take out any of the actual document context. What I did was just bring it down to where it was more concise in the language so that it didn't just have so many therefores and so on in it, so that it wasn't so difficult to read, because I'm sure if someone else was trying to read this document, they would have just gone, oh my gosh. So I did that. But other than that, the documents have not been changed from the way I got them from Peter and Laurel. They're the same documents that he put in his pack. There are 3 registered mail numbers that you will need. One of them is for this bill of exchange. And then there are 2 more that you will need, and that goes to your 2 bonds. So right here on this one, you put your first, whichever number you want to put on there. Again, here's your SS, your exemption number, and your RR number. I call them RR numbers because long back I took classes in exclusive equity and they were using RR instead of RE or RA now. And so we've always just called them RR numbers, so habit. Anyway, this one does not have a jurat, but you'll notice at the bottom it says, see attached documents. Well, when you're putting your documents together in a book and you have an order that they kind of need to go in to make sense, and Peter has kind of laid that out, but not real clear. So, I mean, it took some reading of the documents, looking at what we had to go with the documents, and making sense of how it should lay out. And that's primarily what you'll find in my table of contents. He did in one video give us like the first, I think it was 4 or 5 documents. He said, these are the order that you put these in, which is exactly what it should be, and it made total sense. Then he said, the rest of the documents or your affidavits, it doesn't really matter. Well, I saw a little bit of places that I thought maybe this should go here and that should go there. So, you know, the table of contents is laid out the way I put my husband and my treasury pack together. And that table of contents went in the front of our books that we sent to DC. The documents that are referred to at the bottom where it says see attached documents, that is the UCC 1, which is not going to be attached right to this document, but it will be in the book. It's the very first document that you put in your book. So it's not really attached, but yet it is. The endorsed BC, and that, if you'll notice in my master list, I've got that you have to have a copy of your birth certificate that is not authenticated. And that one is going to be endorsed, and it goes in your pack. And that's one of the documents it's referring to here. And the third one is the 1040 ES. Took me a while to figure all that out because I still have not found all of that in PJ's videos. But, you know, you figure it out when you get to reading the documents and start to understand what's going on. I don't think there's anything else on here that's strange, unusual, or different. So next one. BC bond cover letter. That's the letter that goes to Stephen Mnuchin. And again, pretty self-explanatory. Here's his address. And this number is the same registered mail number that will go on your set-off bond, because this is your instruction letter basically to Mr. Mnuchin. And if you read over the letter, it's just asking that they take care of your account. The birth certificate number tells you what that should be there. This is that same, this is the registered mail number that's on the non-negotiable set-off bond, which is the same number that's here and here. And here's your bond number. I might try to explain a little bit about this. I learned how to do these accounting numbers, and I don't know that Peter's ever gone over this. He kind of told us, you know, that you need to do this, but he never, to my knowledge, in going through his videos, I've never found any place where he's really explained this. We try and come up with 9 digits. Now you can include the initials and leave out some of these zeros if you want, or I preferred to use a dash and put offset bond and my numbers in one. But what you do want to have, whether you include the initials or not, you want 9 digits, because the CUSIP numbers have 9. So you're kind of trying to match what they did. And that's in part what we're doing. This whole process is duplicating what they have done, only for us to take over rather than them to have control. So that's where that 9 came out. So I have mine as offset bond, and I have a bunch of zeros and a 1. That 1 represents, this is the first time I'm using this number. I may need to, in my bookkeeping, I may need to do something with that set-off bond or have something else related to that bond, and I need to have a second reference. So that 1 would become a 2. It still would be my offset bond, but it's the second dealing I am doing with that bond, whatever. And we have that. And so you are, through this registered mail number, you are making this number your property for your records. And you will get this number, and we have another place where we put this number also in another document, and you'll say 2999999. In other words, you have the right, through this registered mail number that you're using, to use this number. You're claiming it. And if you have 999,999 different things that you do with that set-off bond, and you're changing this number to 2, 3, 4, 5, and on up, all the way to that many numbers of 99999, those are all your numbers. So you're making legal record of it in your documents. I'll show you someplace where that comes up, and I'll try and remember to point that out again. But that's what that 0001's all about. Again, we changed the million to billion. And here are the instructions. the private registered bond for set-off. And they want the certified copy of your birth certificate. This is where you have the non-authenticated birth certificate. And this is its number. And you're going to endorse it across the front, kind of like they do with the banker's acceptance or the A for V type thing. You put this at an angle in red. There's a copy of it, I think, in my documents. I'm not sure. In my templates, excuse me. Anyway, it tells you exactly what to put on there. So you don't have to guess, just put that on there. Then on the back, when you do the back, you do your 2-cent stamp on the back. Over to the left of that, you can actually sign your name in your red or purple, whatever color you want to choose. Date it, and you can put redeem and lawful money. And then I don't know if you guys are familiar with what Peter calls special language. You can put that on the back of it too. He talks about that in his first video. It says special deposit for special purposes for CDK use. You probably heard him say that. You can put that on the back also. But this goes on the front at an angle in red. And then you sign and date, and then you turn it over, put your 2-cent stamp on, do the process on that, and sign to the side of the stamp, date it. And above that, you can put redeem and lawful money in the special language. And then you have the third instruction. And this is your 1041V payment voucher. And you don't fill it out. You just put this banker's acceptance notice on it, again, in red, at an angle. And I think everything on here is clear. Again, there's your number, your box, signature box. Now see, I don't have by on this one because the debtor's signature is not on this document. And here's your jurat. And don't want to forget the RR number, or the registered mail number that you use on your set-off bond, and that is the same one that goes on this letter, is the red registered mail sticker number that you will use on the outside of your package when you mail your book to DC. This is the number will be this red sticker that you put on the outside of your envelope for your registered mail number. So you might want to keep that in mind. The other two numbers, the one you use for your bill of exchange and your indemnity bond, just keep those in your records. And that's all there is on that document. Next one is the bond itself. So let's find that one. BC registered bond. That's your pretty blue bordered one. Okay, here's your information. And you can issue date, that's the date you're doing it. Bond number, that's your registered mail number. And over here is your bond number. And this is your registered mail number again. Again, we took that up to 100 billion. This is your certified birth date, your SS, bond number on the back of the card, birth certificate number, registered mail number, upper, lower, all pretty self-explanatory. SSN. Now down here, you are the principal. So that's your name. last, first, middle. Your exemption number in this case is your SS, no dashes, and your address. Now, these just happen to be the two guys that were sureties for our bonds, and they put their address, their ID numbers, their exemption ID numbers on there. You sign in front of two witnesses. The way my husband and I did it was we did not sign our bond when we sent them to the sureties. We just sent them with our information. They signed. When we got them back, we took them in with all of our other documents and signed in front of a notary and got two witnesses to put their information on here. But that's your set-off bond. And then we have private indemnity bond. This is your, basically what is referred to as your insurance bond. And again, you assign it a bond number. It's registered. This is your U.C. file number right here. And this is the state you filed it in. This is your registered mail number for this document, the date you're doing it. It matures in 30 years. So that's that date. Everything else, I think, is pretty explanatory. You, again, are the principal. This is your information. These are your sureties, their information. And then you read through. That's you, your sureties. Surety 1, initials here, 2 initials here, and you initial here. Here's your footer with your information. And each page of this has the initials at the bottom. There's your maturity date again. Now, this one has your 2 sureties and you. And here is where you put your international $1.15, or if you want to use $1, that's fine. Dollar stamp right here. Put 1, 2, and 3. And you give them the proper treatment, which I have a picture of how to do the stamps in the stuff I sent out. This is a signature, I mean, pretty self-explanatory. Here's your witnesses, and of course you can't sign until you get in front of your witnesses. So again, we did not sign here on our bond. We initialed the pages, did not sign. We sent them out to our sureties, got the surety stuff done, got them back, took them in when we took all of our documents in to get them notarized. Then we were also in front of 2 witnesses and they could do their part. That took care of that one. Reservation of Rights, I believe is the next one. Again, you choose male or female for executor or executrix. His, hers, footer, date, signature, a block, your jurat. Very simple. Nothing unusual. Okay, next one is peaceful inhabitants. Okay. Same thing. Address, man or woman. This is what you see on a jurat, so Should be familiar with that. You put your state, your county, your man or woman, your state, signature block, no by because no debtor signature, jurat. Again, your information. Now here we have the John Doe estate. This is your SS with dashes, SS without. Pretty self-explanatory. Again, we have the copyright, trademark. It's already in there for you. And here we have the debtor's name. So we're by with the signature. And jurat. On status. Same things, nothing strange. Your birth year goes in there. This is the one I was talking about earlier. It said and further, and further, and further, and further, and further. And I still had to leave a lot of and furthers in there, but this thing went on for pages. I don't know, I think there were like 20 pages. I dropped it down to 6 by just getting rid of a bunch of the and furthers and combining some of the paragraphs. Everything is still there. I didn't delete anything. I just rearranged it so it was not so redundant to read. Got it down to 6 pages instead of like 15 or 20, whatever it was. Again, your jurat and signature block. I don't think there's anything in here that's unusual. Your state, his, hers, it's all marked. But this is the one that I was talking about earlier that just went on and on and on and on. I thought, boy, these guys are going to really be bored reading this one, so we redid it a little bit. Your fee schedule. I can find it. Your information stuff is right on the front page. And then it goes into the fees. Now, when I got this document, these lines were all over the place. So I got them straightened out in the same column, cleaned it up. Nothing missing, nothing changed. It just moved it over, and so it was all lined out better. Didn't change anything. But this is your fee document. And at the end, it says, make all payments to, this is your trust, and has your suite address. Because that's where you would receive anything coming to your trust or estate, which this would be part of. Okay. Here's your tax exempt foreign status. This is a great document because it sets up your tax exemption status. All of these documents that are in here, like I said before, they're not original. I don't know who originally did start these documents, but they've been changed, updated, improved with each process that's come along down over, well, since I've known them, which has been 20 years now. And Fortunately, we have some new things that we can add to these documents that has been put in to just improve our status. But they're just the same documents we've been using for years. Nothing changed. Here's your jurat, signature block. This is the date. Main thing is on these is to be sure you read through them a few times, get familiar with them, kind of understand what's being said and understand what's going on. And that's probably the hardest part of doing this trust package, is just kind of figuring out the documents. Let's see. Can't find this one. There we are. Okay, same thing. State, your county, man, woman, his, her, John Doe with his trademark and copyright symbol. Nothing different here either.
Is that form available on Mega?
These actual templates, I do not know. He probably has copies in there of what these look like when I originally got them, which the context would be the same, but it would be in maybe bright colors of different, and he had some stuff that was maybe different in different print sizes, italicized or whatever for emphasis. He had a lot of bolds in there, and to me it was just hard to read. And it's just my personal opinion, but I prefer a more professional looking document than what I thought they looked like. Not to take away from Peter's documents, but I just prefer them to look. But if you compared these with what you got from him, the words are the same. There's nothing changed there other than, like I said, he may have more of this italicized stuff in it. I know there's more bold print in his and a lot of color. And I just thought it made it hard to read, and I just prefer a little cleaner look. So that's what I did. The main thing I want to show you guys today is I've had a lot of people ask me, well, I don't know if I did my documents right. I don't understand the documents. I don't know what they want here and want there and want that. Well, I've taken care of that for you. I've put everything in here I can think of to tell you exactly how to fill out a document for your trust treasury pack. So it should be no problem for those that want to do it. Just print these off, fill them out, and put your pack together. The only thing that I would advise is that you read over the documents and read them over carefully and understand them. But as far as putting the pack together, there's really no reason that you can't just take these templates and just put it together. I came across Peter's stuff last November. I spent 2 months going through his videos, doing notes, and a month doing my husband and my's pack. My husband made them into books, and we sent them off. So we were done very quickly. And I know that we had some advantage in that we have done these documents. I mean, I've seen these documents around for years, so I was very familiar with most of them. And so it was not a big deal for us to just pick them up and fill them out and clean them up how we wanted them and put them in a book and send them off. The hard part of this is knowing what you're doing, why you're doing it. I think that is probably the hardest part. But if you know what you want out of this and you know that this is the path you want to go on, this is the easy part. Fill out the documents and put them together. They're not that hard to understand. Right here, you have to get your estate EIN, and that goes here. So that's something you need to do before you do your documents. I have a list of things that you need to basically have before you start, so that you're all kind of like, my husband references it like baking a cake. You got to get all your ingredients out and everything before you start. And that's true. And there's some general things you need to understand and know how to do, just computer-wise, like how to put a footer on a document. And of course, how PJ puts stamps on them. And he has said, hey, you don't have to put the stamps on. It's not going to make or break your pack. But that's what he does. And he feels it's important. And I can understand the stamp thing because we've used it ourselves for other things for years. So I put stamps on my documents, front and back. But again, this is, you know, everything on here is pretty simple how to fill out. That's your forgiveness letter, which is pretty self-explanatory. You just need to read the documents. Now, the next one I'm going to show you is proof of life.
I have a question.
Okay.
The stamp, you just touched on the stamp issue, and I'm sorry, I have my GPS in the background. The stamp is actually elevating it out of their jurisdiction completely because that has to do with the International Postal Union.
That's right.
If I'm not.
Yep, you're
Okay.
right.
Okay, that was my only question.
Yep.
Thank you.
And the only thing is that, you know, it's not going to, like I said, he has said, and I agree to some point, that it's not going to make or break your pack, but I think it's important to do it. I have a picture in here. I drew a crude little picture here. On the first page of your doc, down in the bottom corner, you put your big international stamp. That's your $1.15 or your dollar stamp. You sign your signature across it. You put your 83 estate EIN number across the top of it, and you put your thumbprint. The back of the last page of each doc, you do a 2-cent stamp. Same process. And that goes on all your docs.
What was the first one for?
This is the international $1.15 or dollar, and it goes on the first page of your doc, down in the bottom corner. And you sign it, your estate EIN number goes across the top of it. And this is the back of the last page. This is on the back. Put your 2-cent stamp, same thing. I've had, amazingly, how many questions I've had from somebody asking me, well, how do I put stamps on? So I just did this so that you could actually see it. Peter has shown this on the videos many, many, many times, the stamp on his documents. Oops. Lost you guys.
You're still here.
You're still here?
You're still here.
Okay. So now I wanted to show you a couple of things that we have done that are different. For one is the public notice. Now, I don't know if how many of you have heard him say, Peter say, that he sent a pack of documents to his SOS office with $40 and asked them to make a public notice of that. I have called 5 states and they all go like, well, what are you talking about? I have no idea. And one state said, well, we know what you're talking about, but we have no way of storing that sort of thing, so we will not do that. So I thought, okay, I'm not filing in New York. I'm not going to send a pack to New York, so I have to come up with some way of making my public notice without doing that book and making it a problem for the SOS office. So this is a document that's in my templates that I wrote up with my husband's help because he's such a good editor. And it just explains that these documents are filed with the Secretary of State, Stephen mentioned, and these documents down here are filed with my county, the county of my domicile, which is basically all it is. And I've checked with 2 or 3 other guys that are already have done their packs and their packs have been done for like a year. So they're kind of my mentors. And they said, yeah, the county filing is a notice. So however you can get it in there, get it in there. So I filed this document with my security agreement and the collateral box that Peter gave us to do with my first U.C.C. filing. And I put the filing state there, so if they want to go find it, they know where to find it. They have the information. But these are the list of the documents that I'm noticing them that I have to be filed in my county. So I just filed this as a public notice instead of doing a book because my SOS office does not do that. They have no place to store a book. So that took care of that problem. Or county filings. There's the certificate of trust. This one, you need your EIN number for. Again, here we have John Doe. This is his signature. It's just typed out. This is who and what he is. This is you over here. This is the same one that Peter has in his pack. Nothing different. Now I did retype this and update it. This is, I don't know why that's not coming up. This is the master list of that we got from Laurel. And like I said, there were 2 Reservation of Rights on it, which I combined into one. Not all of the IRS forms were on it. The UCC 3s were not listed because, for one thing, at that time, they were doing the common common law copyright notice different than they are now. That's one of the things that were changed. And I asked Peter not too long ago on one of his classes because I did not want to have to do the process of going through the patent office. So I asked him, I said, did you actually send that through to the patent office? This is almost a quote. He said, hell no. And he showed me the secure transaction for practitioners book and said, page 8 and 9. I said, thank you. I went to the book, I read it, it was pretty clear what to do. So I have a UCC 3 assignment that I did for the copyright notice. It goes to the office. I don't think that's going to move over. I did it just like it says to do in the book. And I referenced my UCC, my original UCC 1, number and date. This is an assignment. I assigned it to the United States Patent and Trademark Office. Here's their date, their address. And this is the information that it says in the book to put in there. So there it is for you, right there. And of course, your name. And on page 2, for additional parties, that's where I put the director and same address. I had to find his name and find out who I should send it to. And then you also have an assignment for your set-off bond to the Treasury that you have to do. That's another one of your UCC assignments. So here it is, all laid out for you. I did my UCCs just a tad bit different than Peter does because I'm old school on this. This is the way I was taught, and this is the way that the Secretary of State's office has said they want it done or need to have it done and like to have it done and according to their rules, blah, blah, blah. But I did a UCC 1 with the security agreement, my public notice, and the collateral box. Then I did a non-UCC to put in the collateral box my bonds. That's that set-off bond and the indemnity bond. Now, my husband and IHL have another bond that you guys don't have that Peter does not use, but it's another indemnity bond that we have, so that one's in there too. And that's what we put on our non-UCC, and in that, or on that non-UCC, of course, I referenced my UCC 1. And I also uploaded the collateral box from the UCC 1 with my non-UCC so that it was on a non-UCC as well as a UCC 1. And I've heard people say they're the same, but if you talk to the SOS office, somebody up there that really knows what they're talking about, they'll tell you no. And that the finance statement document itself is a multi-agency document. So it's used for multi-purposes by multi-functions by multi-different agencies. But the non-UCC is actually the one that you really, really want to get into the county filing because that's the one that registers your lien. So I did a UCC 1 and then I put the bonds and the UCC 1's collateral statement on my non-UCC, and that is part of what I filed in the county. Let's see. I have a copy in here for you to look at. This is off of video 5, but it has everything you need for doing your UCC 1. Can't get rid of this block right here. Let's see. Yep, that's not going to do it. This is my UCC1. And in the state that I filed in, the UCC block that Peter gave us to use does not fit in their space. They won't allow that many characters. So I just put, please see attached document for collateral statement, and I uploaded a copy of the collateral box. Nothing wrong with that. This is the non-UCC filing that I did. And again, just same information as on your UCC1, except my collateral box now has my bonds. Plus I uploaded the collateral box from the UCC1, and of course check the box that says non-UCC. And down here referenced my private security agreement and public notice that was filed with my UCC1 file number such and such, date such and such. I showed you the stamp, showed you all of the main documents. This is the table of contents without all the red, of course. It's what we actually put in our pack.
Karen?
And this UCC1 tells you with it goes the private security agreement, claimant of public notice, collateral box, and it has the list of the documents in which, well, the first few are the ones that Peter said this is the order he thought they should go in. So I agreed. So that's what I did. And then the UCC assignment already has my common law copyright notice uploaded with it. So I just put that filing there. And there's the other documents. There's my 56 to mention, and you do one for yourself. Plus you put in a letter that where you got your EIN, where it shows your EIN. Then the 1040 ES, I explain how to do that. And there is a template in my templates that shows you how to do that. Certificate of birth. We went over that. Here's your 1041V. And you'll notice in the list, it says on the master list that your W8 with no bin. Well, the no bin just means don't fill out. I think it's part 4 for sure. I can't remember if it's part 3 also, but anyway, this is how to do it. It tells you how to do it here. And the other documents, the names, of course, the male or female, whoever's filling it out. This is your IRS form 8832 and how to do it. Standard form 28. Oh, this one was just a nightmare because I could not find any place where this document was in any of Peter's stuff. And yet I knew it had to go in there. It was on the list too, so I knew that. My husband got to digging around and he found someplace where somebody was trying to get Ted Turner out of jail and they had used a 28. I looked at that and looked at that. I thought, oh, duh, yeah, I get it. So anyway, there it is. Proof of life on Peter's original master list. I think it's affidavit of something. I can't remember what exactly it was called. I think it's just affidavit of life. I never could find that document. I don't know where it is. It might be in all of his mega stuff. I don't know. But when I did my pack, we didn't have the mega stuff. So
would you be able to send us a copy if we asked for your email of what we needed for our pack?
yes. So I wrote up this proof of life with the help of a document that I pulled out of Shinola. I don't know if you're familiar with that or not, but it's a very good read by Gary Owen. And that's what goes in the pack is right there. I've given you everything. I don't, if you have any questions when you're trying to do it or whatever, or even today, I'll try and answer them, but I don't know why we can't get these packs put together. It's pretty simple with what I've given you here. What you need to have to do the packs. First off, you need to get your COLB and your BC authenticated, a copy of them authenticated. And I have even given you a, let's see if I can find it here. Here we go. You know you cannot send out your original authenticated document. So you need to make a photocopy, which means you have to be very, very careful because it's riveted. But once you get a copy of it, keep that copy so that you can make more copies if you need them sometime down the road. This is a document that we learned to write up. It's just, it's just a 2-sentence thing. It's not much to learn there. But it's something that we were using when we were doing our exclusive equity law courses. We had a lot of documents that we had to do certification of true copy for. So I just changed the wording a little bit to fit on for our authenticated certificate of birth document and our birth certificate. So now you can get a copy of your birth certificate authenticated and your COLB authenticated, and take that copy of it and put this on top of it, get it notarized, and you're good to go. You can just put that right in your pack. You will also need a non-authenticated copy of your BC, as I explained on that one, the letter to München, where you have to endorse it. So that's a non-authenticated BC. Of course, you need to get your estate EIN. You need your 3 registered mail numbers. Be good if you could get your P.O. Box suite number for your trust. You're going to need some 24-pound cotton white paper to copy your documents off on. And you'll want at least 3 original copies of your documents. 1 goes in your pack to go to DC. 1 goes into your file. And 1 you'll need just in case. Like if you want to use originals for the county, that's where those would go. Pens, writing pens. Well, you'll need that gold one for your stamps. And good to have a red, blue, black. And if you decide to use purple, you'll need some purple. I put our original copy of our pack in plastic sleeves and put it in a 3-ring binder. And it just fit nicely with a few extra things in the back. And it's just great because I have it right here. I can always look at it, and if I need some information from it, well, it's right there. And my documents are safe in those plastic sleeves, and I can go through it, and it just works. You're going to need a lot of stamps. 2-cent, and either pick $1.15 or $1 stamps, whichever one you want to use. You're going to need a stamp pad and ink for red thumbprints. And you need to have or have access to a good color printer. And I think that covers all the main documents. If you have any questions or you want to go further, or
I have a question.
Today?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I keep getting booted off. I was asking, did you record that non-UCC?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Hi, I have a question too.
Okay.
At what point do we bind everything together? Do we have it already notarized and
Oh yeah, because that's your
filed with the county?
because that's your final documents that are going to DC.
Okay, so we get everything done and then we bind it and then we send it off to DC.
Yep, there's a picture of my books.
Awesome.
You can see through the page that it was notarized. My document was notarized. This is the back of my document with my 2-cent stamp. This is what it looks like closed up. This is my husband's and mine.
Very cool.
But oh yeah, you want all done, ready to go, finished product. Going to bind it up, make it pretty and nice, complete, and send it off to Washington.
Okay, and one more question. So
Sure.
what you send into Washington is all certified copies. There's no original.
This is your originals.
Correct.
One of your originals. These are your originals.
Okay, so all the documents in it are original documents.
Yep, that's why I said you're going to want to print off 3 copies of all your documents. Have 3 originals. One for you, one for your book to go to DC, and one for the county.
And
Okay.
all of these are notarized, correct?
Pardon me?
Are all 3 books notarized?
Yes. All your documents have to be notarized and stamped. They look exactly the same. They're all originals.
So you guys basically made 6 books in total for you and your husband.
Yeah.
Okay.
We didn't make books. We only made 2 books.
Okay.
These went to Washington. The county documents were loose because they scan those in. You can't bind those because they scan them in.
Okay. Thank you.
And then my original, of course, is not in a book because I put it in plastic sleeves and put it in a 3-ring binder. So I can pull my pages out if I want to make a copy of a page or whatever. The only books we made were the ones we sent to DC. So just
So
these
if I
3.
understand you correct, you send nothing to anybody until the entire packet is complete?
Absolutely. Yes.
I have another question for you.
Sure.
Chad and I, we filed in New York. Our UCC one's in New York. So do we send New York anything, or do we send it to Arkansas because we live in Arkansas, or both?
You will send a copy of, if you filed in New York and you live in Arkansas, you will, there are, maybe I can bring that up. There are sub-packs that we do. Here they are. After you do your final package to DC, and the one to your SOS will be your UCC one filing, your private security agreement with your public notice, and when they're all done and ready, and your Form 56, making the SOS of your state a fiduciary, and the letter that shows, a copy of the letter that shows your estate 83 EIN, that letter you get from the IRS. And that's a sub-pack that you'll be sending to your state of domicile, SOS office. This lets them know what you did. And then you have one that goes to the IRS. Same thing. UCC 1, private security agreement. I'm sending them a copy of the non-UCC also because it has my bonds on it. There's Form 56 done up for the commissioner, and a copy of my 56 with my copy of my estate 83 EIN letter, stamped, of course. And then all of the forms that I put in my pack that were quote unquote IRS forms, that 1040 ES, 41V, 8, the W8, 8832, SF28. And then you have what goes to the patent trademark office. That was sent to the director, the one we did the assignment to. That's that UCC assignment with the copy law, copyright notice that we uploaded. And we send him a copy of our UCC filing with the private security agreement. And that's what he gets. Now, he doesn't need a 56. He's not a fiduciary. He just is getting notice that we're doing this common law copyright. What goes to the county? I have a file documents template in the list, and that's what we did in our county. Name and address of who you send most of your stuff off to, or who gets stuff eventually, this, that, or the other. I mean, it's, of course, Munchin, who gets most of everything. This is the IRS commissioner, Kim McCoy. She's the commissioner of the Bureau of Fiscal Services with her address. Secretary of Transportation, Secretary Department of Agriculture, Secretary of State, U.S., the U.S. Department of State, and your county commissioner. These are people that will be receiving Form 56, and you'll be sending other stuff to these guys throughout you'll need these names and addresses as you go through the process. So I've got them all there for you. Dug them out, got your addresses for you. I have not been able to get confirmation on these packs. I know that Peter has said, 4 or 5 times on the different videos that he was going to have that list uploaded. I've never seen it. I've asked 2 people that have had their packs in for over a year, and they have not confirmed one way or another. So I've had to kind of decide for myself, okay, well, this is kind of obvious what maybe would go to the SOS. The IRS, I don't know if there's more stuff I need to send or if they even need to have all this, but these are IRS forms that we gave to the pack, put in our pack, and it just feels right that they should have a copy of them. This 8832 gets stamped before it goes in the pack. It has to be stamped by the IRS. And I could not get an appointment. I called and I called and I called. I never could get through to get an appointment to our local IRS office. So I finally just said, okay, I got to get this done. So I just went up there with my forms. I took 3 copies of my husband's and 3 copies of mine and walked in. It's all blocked off and it says, if you do not have an appointment, please call for an appointment. And it says, if you do have an appointment, please take a number and be seated. Your number will be called. I thought, well, I'm not driving back another 55 miles because I don't have an appointment. So I just took a number and sat down. She called my number and I went up and she said, I don't have another appointment. Why do you have a number? So I just told her, I said, I have called and called and called you guys. I said, I can't get through. I said, all I need is to get my 8832 stamped. And I just spread them out on the counter. Didn't even wait for her to say anything, just spread them out. She looked at me and she grabbed her stamp, just wham, 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 wham. That was the end of it. So I got that done. But there's everything I think you need as far as sub-packs. You'll do this after you do your main treasury pack. I haven't sent all my stuff in even yet. I have yet to do the SOS and IRS pack. I thought I'd wait till I got my green card before I spend another 18 bucks on registered mail. And our green card, we're hoping will be here in the next 2 weeks. It's been just over 30 days since our pack went in.
You stated on there your EIN needs to be stamped. What do you mean by that?
The 8832 needs to be stamped. If the IRS stamp, did I say EIN? I apologize.
Okay, thanks.
And this is what a template of what goes on that form. When you see the form, you'll know where that goes. Here's a copy of the banker's acceptance that we put on some of the forms. I had to figure out how to type that so it would fit on the space of the forms. But got that done. Here's the collateral box for the UCC1. Everything lined out for you, just fill in the blanks. What else is in here we haven't done? I think we've gotten everything except the process. That comes later. I apologize about that master list. I'm going to have to find out what happened to it and get another copy of it up, and I will post that in the room.
Do you have an example of what your 8832 looks like, or is there one on YouTube?
I don't know if it's in here or not. Nope, that's just the verbiage. No, I don't have one.
I have a question.
Sure.
Now that you've expended all this time and energy, what benefit have you seen so far from doing this?
From doing this interview?
No, the pack.
The pack? I am hoping that we did not receive our bonds back, and PJ says that if you don't get them back in 30 days, they've been accepted. So we have gone, we'll go ahead now, and I've already got my 98, and I have my banker's 83. So my next step is to learn how to open my bank account properly with these documents. I know I need a UCC1, a finance or a security agreement, and a few others in order to open I need a bond, a matured bond, which I do have. And I need those to open up an account. We've already had an appointment with the wealth manager at our bank, and they're just waiting for us to get this finished. So then we can start discharging. One of my next goals will be to get rid of our utility bill. We are in need of a new car. I'm hoping to learn how to do secure transactions. That's my next project, is to learn how to do that properly so that we can get a car. And just keep moving forward. Eventually, I hope to buy a different house, because this one has a few problems and we need to get a new one. But since we're on limited SS, we also have done the GSA forms for a stopgap to hopefully get that to be increased. But the main thing is we just feel like it's the right thing to do. I don't, maybe, you know, we're kind of biblical people, and we don't like serving two masters, and we've been trying to find a way to get out from under all of this for many, many years. And we'd always get up to the bank, but we never have had anyone show us how to get beyond that. And Peter now has shown us how to do that. And it just feels right. I mean, they took everything from all of us in 33. It's ours. Everything is paid for. Why are we having to pay for things that are already paid for when there's no money to pay for it even? So why are you guys here?
I'm here because I would like to get my own housing and teach other people about this process because it needs to be known.
I agree. And like Peter says too, you know, the guys in particular, you know, they go out there and they break their backs trying to support a family, and today's world is, wow. I mean, by the time you pay insurance, school loans, housing, I mean, look at our foreclosure rate right now. It's just staggering. And how many homeless we have in this country.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm kind of in that homeless boat too.
I mean, it's a sad, sad situation. And this process could solve a multitude of problems. Not only for us personally doing it, but us for helping others. Because right now, I know PJ just said on his last class that he did. And I knew about it before because I have it in with a couple of his friends. But he said it on the last class, so I can tell you. He now is in a position to get $250,000 a day to donate to other causes and other people's projects. And this is something that he can help other people with. Just imagine being able to help people like that.
I have a question.
Okay?
On your bonds, you had 2 people that are already bonded sign. Did they charge you a fee to have them
No.
do the process?
No. No.
Thank you.
That's just part of the give back. And I know the 2 guys that did ours have done for several people.
So you have to be completely finished with the process before you can be someone else's surety?
You have to have your green card back from DC before you're a surety. So yes.
Well, I'll tell you why I want to do it. I went back to school to better myself. My wife went back to school to better herself. We both went into debt way more than we could afford. Could not find jobs because we couldn't get experience because nobody would hire us because we didn't have experience. And I'm tired of killing myself at 55 years old working the way I am and seeing no results. So something's got to give.
And
That-
you're not
that's-
alone.
Yes, that sounds kind of like my boat. I'm only 22 and I have some experience because all of my experience is under the table. But when it goes to job applying, they always say, well, you need to have experience in this. And if I don't get hired, I'm not going to get experience. So I don't ever get a job. So right now I was been doing landscaping and security and all of these other things. And now even those jobs aren't really hiring me anymore. So now I'm
That's
kind of
insane.
just shit out of luck because I took out school loans too. So I totally understand how that is. It's
And what
ridiculous.
really was frustrating for me, I mean, of course, you know, it's been years and years ago, but I bust my butt to get through college, and then you go out and get a job and you still get the same thing. Oh yeah, but you don't have any experience. So you have to go, okay, how in the heck do I get experience? Well, the only way I knew to at that time, which is difficult today because of the pay schedules and the cost of everything, but just start at the bottom rung. I started out in the mailroom of a big company in Colorado and worked my way up. Then I got out of there because I didn't like the company and started looking for companies I did like. But it was not fun because here you are with a college education and they say, well, yeah, but you don't have any experience. It's just, and of course, now if I look back, and I'm not so sure college is really that great of a thing anyway.
Yeah, that's what me and a bunch of kids in this generation now are talking about. We're all going to school so we can still work at McDonald's.
Yeah, exactly. It looks good on a resume, but as far as what you learn, wow.
Yeah, you're better off just trying to go out and be into the real world is what I found out.
Well, if you could find a way to work with a small company and build your experience resume, then you know you've got a chance. But that's hard, takes time, and you usually can't afford to live on what they're willing to pay at that level.
Exactly.
So it's a real challenge. I really commend a 22-year-old being here because I have two granddaughters, 20 and 22, and I can't even talk to them about this.
Well, my mom's on the call. She's doing the trucking. She's a Jamie. You were talking to her earlier. So while she's on the road doing the stuff, I'm here at the house making sure that everything's going good too.
Well, aren't you a good girl? Well, I have a son who's 47, and he is not from me, his father, very, very, very intelligent man. He's a very, very bright kid. I shouldn't call him a kid, he's 47, but he's my kid. But he still is struggling. And 3 or 4 months ago, he told me, you know, he said, I'm finally ready to listen to you about this. And it's not that he doesn't know the history behind this, and he knows most of the stuff that goes with knowing how to do this process. It's just, I don't really quite understand what's holding him back.
It's being closed-minded and not being able to take in what is actually truth, because we've known what is not truth for so long. For people to hear, hey, if you go out and do this, we can beat the government and we don't have to be underneath the thumb that we've been under. And they're like, nah, I don't believe you. That's all hokey pokey stuff. They've been talking about that forever. It's all hokey pokey. If it was true, it would have been done.
Well, and I realized that that is a picture that is very, very much in most people's minds, because how many people are out there right now doing a process like this and to teach and charging people a lot of money and not showing results?
Yeah, That's what my mom was going through not that long ago. That's why when we have this process now, we feel a lot better because, like you said, PJ's showing results. So when somebody shows results, it makes you feel more confident in what's actually going on and what you're talking about.
And I've known for years that there are many, many people, and I do say many because, I mean, not like thousands, but there are a few hundred out there that have done this process over the last many years and are private. We just don't know about it. We aren't
Can you guys hear me?
seeing it because these
Hello?
people have gone private.
Yeah, we can hear you, Mom.
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, I was muted for a second and I was trying to figure out how to unmute myself. I think that a lot of this is because like we've gone to school and been indoctrinated that this is the way that it is our whole lives, and that we just have to, toil and earn this living that is really unattainable. That's my daughter that you guys have been talking to, and it's really been frustrating because, like, I worked for the state for a number of years, and I have the experience of working in human resources close to 10 years. And I've tried to move from working in the state government into private industry, or even move to a different state and try and get employed there. And I run into the issue that I have the experience, but I don't have the degree.
Yeah.
And so it's like a double-edged sword. You either go to school and then you have no experience, so you can't get into the field that you went to school for, or you work for years and work your way up, because I started out as like a field rep working at the Department of Motor Vehicles and moved my way up into personnel, topped out to where I couldn't earn any more money in the position that I was in. It was a dead-end position unless I wanted to go into supervisorial, and I didn't. And then trying to move to someplace else and not having the degree. So you're getting people that don't have the experience in the field with a degree from school that they can pay less. And that was my frustration. So I completely changed my career trajectory and went into trucking, but I've all the time been studying this, and it wasn't until I came across Peter, because you can ask my daughter, I've paid multiple people to try and help me through this process, and I would always get to one point where I wasn't comfortable with what it was that I was doing. And so I love the way that he streamlined things, and he's showing us the books that he's read so that we can find the information out there ourselves. So it's not just one person telling another person, this is what you do. He's telling you this is what you do, but this is where you find the base information so that you can know what it is that you're talking about, and know what it is that you're doing, and where the regulations in the government, whether it's the United States Corporation or the U.C. or wherever this documentation is coming from, that allows us to do this. Because that's what I've come across when I've tried to speak with people about this process. They want to see the proof in the pudding. And with me being over the road, it's really difficult. I do have a notary that will notarize all my documents for me. It's just a matter of getting everything together and everything organized to where I can sit down at once and do everything. And I've sat down with her twice, and I still don't have all my documents in order. So I've been working on this process for like a year, actually working the process and going into the bank and getting notary done. And I even had a friend of mine go through the notary process so she could be kind of my personal notary.
Wonderful.
And so she's kind of waiting to do the process until both myself and my daughter are done, so that we can start doing secured transactions like you're talking about doing, so that they can see, yeah, this is real. And as soon as we can prove that it's real, then I think there's going to be a lot more people that are interested at that time. But I kind of feel like this ship is sailing. It kind of feels to me like there's a time frame that we have to get this done within. Not that it's going away, but just that it seems like it's getting harder, because I'm starting to see that there's a lot of people that are getting frustrated with going into these government organizations and being told different things, to where they're getting deterred away from, you know, being able to complete their process. I don't know if you guys have noticed that just in the chat room on the Facebook page. I've
we've
noticed
seen
some
it
frustration.
just being just working with it over the last few years. We've seen it. I mean, it's getting harder and harder to do this, and I know from just watching what's going on in the groups that are teaching a process, not exactly Peter's, but you'll have, well, like I know one guy, he has like 964 people in his group, and he gets so frustrated, and I've talked to him a few times. He says, why can't we get more people to do this? I don't know. There's just a lot of reasons why people don't do a lot of things. But I do know that with this process, and I think the government agencies know this, there's only going to be about 1 to maybe 2% of the people that ever really do this. So I'm impressed with this particular group because we seem to have more people in this particular group that are serious about doing something. And that's
Well,
one
I'm
of the
looking
reasons I
forward
was
to the
willing
time
do
that I can retire myself.
Yeah, I'm only 22, and I'm like, I know I'm getting my money. But Sandy, I not emailed you, sent you a message privately with my email and some of the documents I'm missing. I would love and greatly appreciate if you could email me.
Sure. Do you have the templates here? Because they're all there.
I have most of them, but like I said, I sent you a private message saying which ones I did know I need.
Okay. All right.
I have a question, which I really don't want to touch on this, 'cause it's been beat like a dead horse, and it's passport.
Yeah, that was kind of a bummer deal, huh?
Well, I'm hearing from one side that a 3-star is okay, and I'm hearing from you folks and some others in these groups that it's not okay. But now that I know that, should I even put it on this paperwork, or should I lose it?
Oh no.
You still want to put it on your paperwork.
Yeah. It's still
You
a
put
good
it on your
passport.
paperwork just as you would your driver's license or your birth certificate, because it's still a document. It's still something that down the road you want to claim ownership over.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to hang on to that and you want to claim it on your paperwork. Definitely.
Is there not anybody out there that anybody here knows of that has definitive proof on exactly what that is that I received?
It's a 3-star. That's just a U.S. standard U.S. citizen passport. And there's nothing
And you're
wrong
sure?
with having that. It's fine.
Well, yeah, there is, because I was going to use it for identification instead of using their damn driver's license, but now I can't.
Well,
And that was the whole reason for spending 3 months doing this and
yeah.
sending it out with Gronsky's paperwork and signing it that way and doing it in purple and then having to redo it in black and not having Social Security number on it, but having it on the 9-page explanatory statement and then having to resend them a letter with it on there.
Oh, wow. And I really, really don't know. I've not seen but one person that I know that's been successful using a passport in a successful way with a cop stop. But he is extremely well versed in what he's doing. So, you know, I wouldn't want to try and compete with that.
I just don't do anything to get pulled over anyway, so I run a
Well,
lot slower than
I think right now that's the
everybody else.
safest thing to do is just, you know,
Keep your head down.
get your paperwork done and keep your head down.
And I may have told you and not anybody else, and there's somebody else on the call that is aware that I've done it. I started with Anna's paperwork
Yes.
and did her first 5 or 6 steps and did all that. So is that going to be a hindrance?
No. Because what you're doing, If you get this,
We're redoing it, aren't we?
pardon me,
Aren't we redoing that anyway in these documents? Isn't that what I've seen?
pretty much. Yeah, we are correcting some of that and completing it, shall we say. I think Peter has, if anything, he has more than we need to accomplish the goal, but I would rather have more than not enough. And what he has given us is correctly done, which to me is a big, big, big plus. The only thing I have disagreed with him on is that I did a UCC 1 and a non-UCC, and I know he just does one, but I pulled off his filings from New York. I'm telling on you, Peter, but they were not marked non-UCC, which is what he said to do in his videos, but none of those until later when he was trying to
I don't
buy
think
stuff.
I don't think that the non-UCC ones are public. I think that when you file something non-UCC, that it goes into the record, but it's on the private side, so the public filings can't see those.
You can see mine, and I know I pulled up Peter's later ones.
Okay, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
No,
I noticed
mine's
the same
up there.
thing because mine are just regular UCC filings, and I haven't done a non-UCC.
Yeah, I went in. Mine are there.
Okay.
Yep, mine are
I stand
online.
corrected.
No, I'm just saying mine are there, and I know I've seen. I have copies of Peter's nons. So I don't know, but I do have mine's up, and I do have copies of his. But that was the only place that I really disagreed with him, was that I wanted to do a UCC 1 with the security agreement and my public notice, because my SOS doesn't do like his did. And then I did the non-UCC for the bonds. I just thought it was important.
Well, Patrick Devine talked about the non-UCC, and you only record it, you don't file it.
Yeah, I've heard people say that, but to get the bonds leaned and to get them on more than just the county, you have to go through the SOS with it. And I know Peter put his through. So I did. And then I recorded, or I didn't record, I filed my stuff here because in the county, because our county is really small and they don't have a difference between recording and filing. It all goes in the same box. Some states even have a different office that you go to for recording and filing. It just depends on your county. But I also...
On that note, is there a better place to do it? Because when I first started doing Anna stuff, my county, when I walked into my land recorder and looked at them for the stuff we were trying to do, that woman looked at me and just looked like I had lost my mind and said, "We don't file anything like that here. You might as well leave." So I sent stuff to another state entirely to get stuff done. But does this stuff have to be recorded in the county in which we live?
Your stuff has to be recorded in the county in which you domicile, because if anyone came after you, like a lawsuit or anything for anything down the road, that's where they look. It's where you live. They're not going to look somewhere else. And if it's not there, no.
Okay.
I live in Cook County, and they won't accept it, but a county north of that will. So I'm going to go there and file it and have it CC'd to Cook.
Beautiful. You can do public notices too, and just put in and say, I have these documents filed wherever. But it has to have, you have to have some kind of public notice done in your county. It's important. Some states won't record anything unless you're a landowner. Some states won't do a filing. They only do recording. I have a friend in Washington, she deals with that, and it's costly. I almost laugh at our little county here because I didn't want to pay for each page. So I just made a cover page, which is in the templates, and just said these are the documents that are being filed in my county. And they just counted all of my documents that I was filing. And of course, you don't file everything, like you don't put your IRS forms and all that kind of stuff in there. But anyway, all the documents that I filed, I just had this cover page, so it was considered one document. I paid $5 to have the whole thing done. It's just, our
Nice.
county is just very simple.
You're lucky.
Yeah, we are. Of course, if we move out of this house and somewhere else, we're going to have to refile. We'd like to move over west further where our kids are, but we'll see.
As a side note for people getting items to use to do this on the printer, I had a color laser printer, and anybody that's got any experience with those, the replacement color cartridges are going to cost you almost as much as it will to buy a new printer.
Yep.
So my printer is, on the landfill, and I went to Walmart and bought an $89 inkjet printer again, which I despise. But if you have enough money to go ahead and spend the money on the inkjet laser color, that's the way to go. But I didn't. So $89 is what I got.
Yeah, we had a really nice little printer we got a while back, but it wasn't color. So we bit the bullet and went down and bought another color printer.
Well, I want to thank you for all that you did for us today. It was very grateful.
Well, I hope it answered some questions and helped some people see that the documents aren't that intimidating, really. And putting the Treasury pack together really isn't that difficult if you just, look at the documents a little bit and just kind of think about it. But I hope I have given everybody enough template information. I mean, all the documents are there. And the table of contents tells you what you need to put in that Treasury book. So, I'm trying to, what I'm trying to do is wipe out the excuses. We need to get these books put together and get them mailed.
I agree. Thank you, Sandy, for helping. Thank you.
Well, I hope I did. And thank you guys for being here. And we'll talk later, I think.
Thank you, Sandy. This is
Thank
gold.
you.
Thank you.
I'll be waiting for
Thank
your
you.
email.
Okay.
Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you for doing it on day I wasn't working.
Thank you.
You're welcome.